We're starting with the foundation of the windmill. The base is one of the most important parts because it determines the overall proportions of the structure. For this design, we're creating a circular or octagonal shape using stone bricks and cobblestone. Don't worry about making it perfectly round. Minecraft circles are always an approximation, and a slightly irregular shape often looks more natural. As you place the stone blocks, think about how this windmill will actually support the weight of the tower above. Mixing cobblestone along with stone bricks, it creates texture and helps to avoid large flat surfaces. Once the foundation is complete, we'll begin building upwards. Fuck me, I'm not good. Then we'll be moving on to the tower section. This is where the windmill starts actually taking shape. We're using spruce logs for the main supports and spruce planks for the walls. Now these logs can vary, choose your own wood, choose what works best for you. We may decide to change this along the way. The vertical logs act like structural beams, giving the build a sturdy appearance whilst also breaking up the wall space. As you build higher, try to maintain symmetry. The windmill blades will eventually be mounted to the front face, so keeping everything centered is extremely important. One thing I really like about this design is that it feels detailed without relying on hundreds of different block types. Most of the character comes from the shape and the layering rather than the expensive materials. Continue stacking the walls upwards, leaving space for windows and decorative elements, as you will see. At this stage, the tower should begin to look more complete. You can already see how the stone base and the wooden upper section contrast with one another. The combination is a classic medieval building style and works incredibly well in almost any biome. As you're building, feel free to customize some of the details. Different wood types can completely change the appearance. Dark oak creates a heavier, older feel, whilst oak gives a brighter countryside aesthetic. The design works either way. Just follow the shape and make sure that each side stays consistent as we prepare for the roof. When we move on to the roof, remember it has a conical shape, which does help to sell the classical windmill appearance. We're going to use stairs and slabs to gradually taper the structure towards the centre. Take your time here because the roof work is often where the builds either look amazing or awkward. The key is to create smooth transitions by alternating stairs and slabs. You can achieve a more rounded appearance rather than ending up with something that feels blocky. As the roof narrows, continue checking it from multiple angles. Sometimes a roof might look perfect from one side, but maybe it looks uneven from another side. Eventually, you will reach the peak, and the main structure will be finished. When the tower and roof are complete, it's time for one of the most recognisable features of the entire build: the windmill blades. These are what transform the structure from a simple tower into a true windmill. We're creating the framework using fences and wooden supports before filling the sails with white wool. The wool creates a clean contrast against the dark spruce wood and helps the blades to stand out from a distance. Remember, the blades don't actually need to function. The goal is simply to create an attractive shape that looks believable. Focus on keeping the proportions even. Small adjustments can make a huge difference in how realistic the finished windmill will appear. As you complete each blade, step back and check the overall silhouette. A good silhouette is often what separates an average build from a great one. Now that the exterior structure is mostly complete, start furnishing your interior. The ground floor serves as a storage area. This level is perfect for barrels, chests, crafting, furnaces, and any other practical blocks that you may want nearby. Storage rooms are often overlooked, but they help a build to feel lived in and functional. Try adding different workstations and arranging them naturally rather than lining everything against a single wall. A few lanterns can also make a huge difference, just by adding a bit of warmth and depth to the space. When you move up to the middle floor, this will become your living area. This is where the builder or mill worker would theoretically spend their time. Adding a bed, table, bookshelves and decorative items helps create a cosy atmosphere. You don't need a huge amount of furniture because the room itself is relatively compact. Sometimes a few carefully placed details are more effective than overcrowding the space. Lanterns, flower pots, candles, small storage piece, they'd all work here. The goal is to make the room feel comfortable and believable. Now when you head to the top floor, the idea is to represent the milling section of the windmill. Even though you can't create a fully realistic milling mechanism in vanilla Minecraft, as most call it, you can create the illusion of one using fence posts, wool blocks, trapdoors and decorative supports. The room should feel slightly more industrial than the living space below. Add things like barrels, hay bales and structural beams throughout the area. The extra clutter helps to tell a story of what this build is actually being used for. By now your windmill should feel complete internally, and all that's really left is to bring the surrounding environment to life. As you will see, we didn't do a milling room. We changed our mind last minute, but I'm going through the ideas of what you could do so that you have more options available. Anyways, for the remainder of the build, where we focus entirely on exterior detailing, is where this is where good builds become great builds. A lot of players spend hours on the main structure and then stop once it's finished, but the surrounding landscape is what truly sells a build. Start by adding windows, trapdoors, lanterns and decorative accents around the outside. Small details like these create depth and prevent walls from feeling flat. You can use trapdoors as shutters, place lanterns beneath overhangs and add extra support beams wherever the build just feels empty. Walk around the structure and view it from multiple angles as you work. Every side should have something interesting to look at. And then you want to blend your windmill into the terrain. Paths are incredibly important. A simple dirt or gravel path leading to the entrance instantly makes the build feel connected to the world around it. You could also add patches of coarse dirt, stone, and path blocks to create a worn appearance. Nature rarely looks perfect organised, so a little randomness does actually help. Adding bushes, flowers, grass and leaves around the base soften the transition between the structure and the landscape. This prevents the windmill from looking like it was simply dropped onto the terrain. And then create a small farming area. Since this is a windmill, having crops nearby makes perfect sense. We're building a modest field rather than a massive farm because you want the windmill to remain the actual focal point. Start by outlining a small plot of farmland. Add water source for irrigation and then plant your preferred crops. Wheat works especially well because it complements the rustic theme, but carrots, potatoes and beetroot could also look great too. Mixing crops could make the farm to appear more natural and actively used. You could even leave some crops partially grown for extra realism. Around the edges of the farm, add fences and gates to define the space. This creates clear boundaries whilst maintaining the countryside aesthetic. Hay bales nearby help to reinforce the farming theme and connect the field visually to the windmill itself. You might also consider adding a small cart composter, scarecrows or extra barrels. depending on how detailed you want the area to become. The important thing is creating a scene rather than just a building. When someone walks past this area, it should feel like a place where people actually live and work. As we finish up, take a moment to walk around the entire build. Look at it from ground level, from above, and from a distance. The best build often reveal new details depending on where you're standing. Make any final adjustments you feel are necessary. Maybe add a few lanterns, a few extra bushes, or some additional pathing. Small changes can have a surprisingly large impact. And there we have it, our completed windmill with a fully detailed exterior and a small farming area to bring the whole scene together. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Minecraft builds and inspiration. And once again, if you'd like to join a friendly community, check out our Discord server. It's a welcoming place to share builds, talk with others, and find encouragement when you're having a tough day. Just remember that whilst community support can be incredibly valuable, it isn't a substitute for professional mental health care when that is needed. The link will be in the comment section below. I will pin the comment for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next build.